And I was always scared to go calvo because I have some scars here, and I thought maybe it will make me look like a bad guy. You know, people can see the scars on the back of my head. So I was reluctant to go calvo, but then my friend said, "Hey, we are doing an environmental charity, Green Man. You need to be the champion for safe water, safe shampoo, save the planet by being calvo." Okay, what can I do? I agreed. So this guy shaved me and he said, "Oh, it looked very nice." But I wanted to know from the ladies whether it looked nice. And I asked the ladies, "How many of you think it was better before?" Only one hand went up. "How many think it's better now?" Most other hand went up. Since then, I'm always calvo. So as a recommendation for the guys, it's not only giving you more eco-friendly behavior by less shampoo, less water and things like that, you even get more smiles from the ladies. So Joey, I strongly recommend you should check it out. Maybe we should do it after our event today, so he cannot escape, and then you know, you will see. I mean, maybe your wife won't recognize you when you come home, but
I can do it. I'm too conservative for that.
Really? Why? Okay, we have to work on him. Help me. We'll try and get him calvo as well. So, when I was a youngster in my village, in my barangay, any idea what happened at that time that had a big impact on the environment in Europe? I think some of you know it already who have attended my other talks, so you should keep quiet. Only those who attend my talk for the first time.
You went to become vegetarian, maybe?
No. I was a vegetarian for some time and my mother freaked out. She was like, "What? You're gonna get sick." But that one will be covered by you later on. It's actually gonna make you more healthy if you do it in the right way, and it's gonna reduce a lot of environmental impact on the planet. I eat a lot of vegetarian, but I'm not yet a full vegetarian. I'm still working on it. Maybe, but this is the area in my life where I still can improve a lot to help the planet more. But actually something external happened in Europe. There was a catastrophe that happened. And after that happened, we were not allowed to eat our vegetables anymore in our garden. Any idea what it could be? Sorry?
Nuclear thing?
Yeah, nuclear thing. What was the nuclear power plant that blew up in Europe?
I don't know.
Chernobyl. You're right, it was nuclear. Here we go. You get the Green Man to take home.
I'll take you home?
Yeah, sure. So, the Chernobyl nuclear power plant blew up. And what happened was, radioactive rain came down all over Europe. So this was a problem now because suddenly we were growing our vegetables in our own garden, and you know, we could not prevent the radioactivity because nobody had control over it. So it actually came down in our gardens. And we were told, don't eat the vegetables from your garden anymore because they might be radioactive. Actually, even until today in Germany, if hunters hunt wild boar, they have to make a radioactive test of the meat before it's allowed for human consumption. So this is one of the things that once it comes, it doesn't just disappear overnight. Insecticides, pesticides can be a big problem as well. They might disappear after some years, but radioactivity takes like a long time. So this made us all scared, and it made us alert. What are we humans doing to the planet? Why are we humans creating those toxic risks? So that was one thing. The other thing that happened at that time in Europe, we had a lot of pollution from power plants, coal-fired power plants, chemical factories. Actually, when we think about electricity, we think it comes from the wall, right? I gave a talk the other day to some school children. I asked them, where does the electricity come from? The kids said, oh, from the wall. Easy, no problem. Where does the plug in the wall get the electricity from? The kids were thinking. One boy raised his hand. It comes from the electricity manufacturing factory. Wow, that's a good way of describing it. We call it power plant. But actually what we do, we burn the coal, we burn the gas, we burn the fossil fuels, and we are generating electricity. Together with this generation of electricity, we have a lot of pollution going up into the atmosphere. So this is a problem. And what it was doing in Germany, it was destroying our forest. If you have too much pollution, what is the main pollution that comes from our power plants and factories? Who is good in chemistry? Let me get another. Obviously, the main pollution that we are concerned about in terms of climate change is carbon dioxide, CO2. That is the main global warming gas. What about other polluting gases that come from power plants? Yes, nitrous oxides. Here we go. One green man for you. Nitrous oxides. What else? Sulfur dioxide. Yeah, sulfur dioxide. Actually, nitrous oxide and sulfur dioxide, those are the ones that when they come down with the rain, they make the rain acidic. Acidic is like, you remember the pH? You do the pH test. When this paper turns into different colors, that means it's different pH. The pH acidic is like 4 or 3. What happened in Germany, the rain was coming down, it was starting to destroy certain kind of trees and forests. So when we were teenagers, we were campaigning against the acid rain. We were making, events where we were saying, hey government, you need to stop the acid rain. Because if we have too much acid rain, all of our forests will die. What kind of earth are we going to have if all the forests are dead? So then more and more people in Germany were voting the Green Party. All the parties turned green because otherwise they would have lost too many votes to the Green Party. So suddenly the government was initiating legislation. And maybe one big difference between Germany and Philippines is Germany is very good at implementing and enforcing legislation. Maybe it will improve with the new president, the implementation and enforcement of legislation. But in Germany, if there's a factory, they have to measure the pollution that comes out of the stack. If the pollution is higher than what they are allowed by legal limits, then they have to pay a big fine. That is how the system works in Germany. So very quickly, a lot of the factories started to do pollution control. So the total amount of pollution in the air, in the water, was coming down a lot. One thing I realized when I used to come to Manila before, after 3 or 4 days in Manila, I got a throat infection. Do any of you experience that sometimes? You live somewhere else where it's cleaner. Maybe you live in Cebu. You come to Manila, you live in the city, 3 or 4 days later, wow, my throat was like really, really bad. I had to use antibiotics to get rid of it. So this was one of the issues and challenges that I used to be facing here. Maybe the air quality has improved a little bit. I think they're doing more enforcement now on the vehicles that are belching out the black smoke, right? At least in Quezon City, I visited their environmental department there, and they were telling me they are already implementing that. So this used to be happening in Germany at that time. So I grew up at that time in my little village, only 500 people. I knew everybody in the village, and I knew already at that time, I'm here on the planet to help Mother Earth. Full stop. If I make money with it or not, I don't know yet, but I know that's my role. First I thought I have to be the chemistry expert to prevent the pollution. But then I realized, wow, actually my real skill is communication. I'm a communicator. Put me in front of a television camera or a radio microphone, I'm happy. I'm at home. I'm comfortable. I can communicate. I can give talks. I can give training. So then I realized, wow, that is how I should help Mother Earth. Live it, do it, and communicate it to other people. So that became my mission in life, to be a communicator. And it was so nice this morning, I was really touched. I had breakfast with a guy who owns a very big company in the Philippines. And he told me, you know what, Matthias? My employees thanked me I got you in for the green training. And they are now practicing things at home and at work to help the planet. I was so happy. That is what makes me most happy. If I know that through my talks, through my training, people have changed their mindset and their behavior. What are the biggest barriers towards us going green at the moment here in the Philippines? What are the biggest barriers? Shout something out.
Undisciplined citizens.
Discipline.
Undisciplined.
Undisciplined.
Citizens.
Undisciplined. You throw the rubbish where you are rather than keep it and put it in the right place. Lack of discipline. What else? Politicians, maybe. Yeah, politicians, corruption, lack of enforcement of legislation, maybe one issue as well. What else?
Globalization and being so technical about things. We forget about the importance of
Yeah. Yeah, we see the kids nowadays sitting there with their phones and like iPads all the time. When I flew to Cebu, I had a lot of noise behind me. I turned around, there was this little boy tapping on his iPad, killing other people and getting killed, and he was making a lot of noise, you know, and his parents were sitting there like not really looking after him. He was just by himself with the iPad, playing some kind of war games. I mean, if people grow up like that, it's like, huh? They don't connect with the environment. They spend all the weekend in the shopping mall rather than with Mother Nature, right? You see that actually with society. Society nowadays spends a lot of their time in the shopping mall, not with the family at home or with Mother Nature. Kids play with the iPad. We used to play with one another in the forest. That was our games. We used to play cowboy and Indian, hide in the forest, try to catch the other guys. That was our games we were playing, out there with Mother Nature. So we have lack of discipline, lack of enforcement, anything else? I think one big issue is people think, oh, I can't afford to go green. Correct? Because we see the organic food is quite expensive. Unless you grow it yourself, right? Maybe we hear more about that later. But the perception is organic food is very expensive. It costs more. Or all these other green products look like they cost a lot more. You know, one reason why they cost more is because we don't have many people buying them yet. Supply and demand. In Germany, a lot of people buy organic food. So the organic apples, the organic vegetables maybe cost 20% more, but not double, like they might cost in Malaysia or in the Philippines. Because if you have small volume production, then the cost is much higher. Plus, we have to remember when we do organic, we don't actually pollute the soil. We keep the soil clean. We don't pollute the water. If we put pesticides and fertilizers and chemicals into the soil, into the water, we are creating a cost to society. Who is going to clean it up? Where does all the cancer come from? Where do all these chemicals come and go? Those are some of the things we need to ask ourselves. So, how can we overcome those barriers? That's an important question. The barrier of it's too expensive, it's too inconvenient, the lack of discipline. You know, one of the things that I have realized, if you live holistically green, like what I do, you save a lot of money. Right? Joey just mentioned, no car. That saves me about, what, 10,000 pesos a month? If you would have a car, what would be the loan payment that you would be paying every month? Might be in that region, or even more. I don't have to pay that. Yes, I have to get from A to B, taxi, Uber, public transport, walking. Most of the meetings that I have, I ask people to come to a place that I can walk to, a vegetarian restaurant. people know when they want to have a meeting with me, they can meet me in that place. And I can go there. So you can organize your life in such a way that you actually save a lot of money through growing green. The only problem is, I gave a talk like that in Penang, in Malaysia. Like here today, we have mainly lovely ladies listening to my talk. That talk was the other way around. There were a lot of guys sitting there, and the guys were like staring at me. What? No car? If you don't have a car, you can't get a girlfriend. That was their comment. Is that right, ladies? If the guy has no car, you think he's a poor guy, so no chance to be your boyfriend? No? Not true? Good to know. I've never been scared. I told those guys, let your girlfriend pick you up with her car. Why not? Even nicer, right? You've got a personal driver. And never mind if she doesn't have a car, you take the bicycle together or the public transport. So that saves me a lot of money. The fact that I only have an electricity bill of $10 US, which is about what in pesos? 500 pesos or less. But I have to admit that in Malaysia electricity is slightly cheaper. So if you would translate it into local currency, it would be a bit higher. But there's a funny story behind it, because my landlady gave me a call after 4 months of living into the new condo where I used to stay. And she was calling me up and she said, "Hey Matthias, is there something wrong with you?" I said, "Hey, what? What should be wrong with me?" "Yeah, are you never at home? Are you manipulating the electricity meter?" That was what she was thinking. Because the guy who used to live there in the same place before me, a British guy, he lived alone by himself like me. He had the same aircon, the same television, the same temperature, the same humidity, the same lights. Nothing was changed. I didn't install any solar. It was the same circumstances. My bill was 28, 32, 30 ringgit Malaysian. His bill per month was 450, 500, 550. His average was 500, my average was 30. What was the difference? Behavior, mindset. Me living completely different than the other guy. That was the difference. You can make a gigantic difference. You can save a lot of money just through your behavior. Now when I tell that story, a lot of people tell me, "Oh, cannot, it's too hot here. We can't sleep without aircon." Same in Malaysia, it's very hot. Malaysia has more or less the same temperature, the same climate like the Philippines. I'll show you what I wrote in my book. Let me get my book out. I have a major tip in my book. By the way, this book, as you can see, same, the Calbo thing here, and it was before only the rainforest. Now it's the rainforest inside of my head. And the message is, we the humans, we need to reconnect back with Mother Nature again. So guess how many trees were chopped to manufacture this book?
No.
Sorry?
0.
0. How come 0?
It's recycled.
Yes, you are right. How come you know?
Because I am an advocate of recycling and upcycling.
Okay, great, excellent. Let me give you a green man. I think that's the last one I have in there.
Thank you.
Very good.
We get to share you. We
Oh,
get to
yeah.
bring you half of it.
I think you already both have one, right? You got one for, but you can share me as well. That's okay. I'm fine with that. You know, hi. How are you? You can come here. Great to see you. This is Jan Louise, one of the contestants of the Miss Earth, Miss Quezon City. And her video won the best video of all the Miss Earth. So congrats for that.
Thank you.
Great to see you here. So this is my book, and no tree was chopped to make the book. I wanted to make sure if I actually make a book and write a book, I want to make the impact of the book as small as possible. So I decided to have FSC Forestry Stewardship Council recycled paper. No tree was cut, but I wanted to make it more green. So I thought about different things. One thing that happens, for example, when you read the newspaper here in Manila, you know, sometimes you can smell a certain chemical, right? This is called VOC, volatile organic carbon. Because if the ink is printed with chemicals that are carried by a so-called solvent-based ink, then it releases the smell. This is not very healthy for us, nor is it healthy for the planet. Next time you open up a newspaper, try and smell a little bit. You can detect the solvent. If you smell this book, there is no smell. Because to print the book, we used vegetable-based ink made with water, not with chemicals. So this book was printed with vegetables rather than with chemicals. So there is no smell, there is no bad volatile organic carbon. This is, for example, when we had our training 2 days ago in Cebu, you remember, we were in a mall that had just newly opened. And I could smell the gluey smell. You know the glue? Sometimes when you go for a shopping mall, they're refurbishing the shops there. You can smell they use paint stripper or they use the paint, and you can smell the toxic solvent. So one tip is when you buy things, for example, simple things like shoes. When I buy shoes, I go there to the shop and I actually, hi, Luca, how are you? Come sit here.
I'm walking for 40 minutes.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I came in with long hair.
Oh, yeah, yeah. He went calvo now. You're as eco-friendly as me. That's very good. Yes, yes. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yes. Oh, yeah, he's sweating already. Wow, man. Wow, man. Yes.
I hate giving information wrong. They send you from the other
Yes,
side.
yes. But at least, you know, you will have a buddy soon like this guy there if you keep like that. So I will tell you later what Luca does. He has something really exciting that I will show you as well that I only discovered earlier this week. I'm just talking about my book that I wrote and how I made the book as eco-friendly as possible. So I use the vegetable ink. When you buy things like shoes, I go in the shop, I take the shoes and I smell the shoes. Very often I think the shop assistant must have think, this guy, is he crazy? Why is he smelling the shoes? But some shoes smell very strongly. Why? Because they have used the glue to fix the shoe with one another. This is the smell that you can smell when you go to the cobbler shop. You know the cobbler shop who repair the shoes? They use the solvent-based glue. The solvent-based glue is actually very toxic. It's not very good. If you breathe that in all the time, especially if you're living in a home and you have babies, you have children, when they are very, very young, make sure you don't have any of these toxic chemicals in your home, because that can impact the health of the children, particularly if they are sleeping and then they are breathing in toxic chemicals. When I first moved to Malaysia and I had a new condo there, I was suspicious about the indoor air quality. I was worried that I was maybe breathing in some toxic chemicals. So I hired a guy with this air quality monitoring system. I asked him to come in. And he was so surprised. He said, oh, you are my first ever customer from a residential home. Normally I only have factories that are required by law that are actually hiring me. I said, I want to pay you because I want to know whether I'm killing myself here or not with toxic chemicals. And you know what result we got? This is a small box, something like this box here. And you have some monitoring on there. And then they have this small little stick. And with that stick, they can pick up the amount of pollution that's in the air. So what we did is we monitored the indoor air quality first. And that was actually quite okay. Then we monitored the fresh air that came in from the outside. And that was the surprising thing. The fresh air was quite highly polluted compared to the indoor air quality. So we actually realized that the fresh air was quite toxic. How come? This was because my condo was right in the middle of the city center of Kuala Lumpur. It was surrounded by loads of roads that have a lot of cars driving on them. So the pollution coming from the cars, from the buses, from the lorries, all of that was massively polluting the environment. So this was impacting on the fresh air. So that is one reason why when you buy things, make sure you don't buy things that are bringing bad air pollution to your home. Because then you're bringing toxic stuff into your home. Especially like toys for children, paints, paint strippers, varnishing, surface treatment in your home. I heard a story 2 years ago when I was here in Manila. My friend took me to see some other people. They told me, yeah, our auntie, she lives in Baguio. She did a house painting 3 years ago. But there is so cold, she closed all the windows because otherwise, if you have all the air circulation. But some of the paints, they say on there, you know, you can see that sign, harmful, toxic, only used in well-ventilated areas. So apparently, the auntie kept all the windows closed. Next morning, unfortunately, she passed away. And I asked them, have you ever considered that this could be from the volatile organic carbons from the solvent-based paint? If there is too much VOC, the concentration of oxygen goes down, you need the oxygen for breathing. Maybe that was the reason that she passed away. So I wanted to make this book as eco as possible. No trees chopped, only recycled paper, vegetable ink to avoid any chemicals to be used, and then we calculated the carbon footprint of each book. Who knows what is the carbon footprint? Anyone? Who can explain what is the carbon footprint? You get a reward if you can explain it. Can you explain, Luca?
Well, it's having worked in a paper mill, so have to debate about the recycled paper is the basically the traces of carbon emission that are returned to the environment through a process of manufacture.
Yeah, yeah.
Or consumption of.
Yeah. We call it a life cycle analysis. We look at the raw materials, the manufacturing process. In this case, it would be the printing of the book, the binding of the book, everything together. You would calculate the total carbon footprint. Everything you do, you would convert to carbon dioxide. For example, one of the reasons why vegetarian diet is better for the environment than especially eating red meat. Cows, if we have a lot of cows for meat consumption, they produce a lot of methane. Methane is CH4, if you might remember that from chemistry. 1 kilogram of CH4 methane has about 23 times higher environmental global warming impact than CO2. So if you're producing methane as part of your production process, or if you eat meat, you're responsible for some methane, then you have a higher carbon footprint. So we calculated all the carbon dioxide emissions and calculated what is the CO2 emission for one book. And we came up with only 0.33 kilogram of carbon dioxide. That's the only carbon footprint. So as a reward for answering that, you get a book.
Very kind, very kind. Thanks.
My pleasure, my pleasure. So we can, in all areas of life, help Mother Earth by taking practical steps to minimize our environmental impact. One story that I sometimes tell to people, and I might surprise you with that today, is you can help and save the planet one underwear at a time. You don't believe me? One underwear at a time. How? Guess how? How can you save the planet one underwear at a time? Any suggestions? I asked the same question in Cebu. The one guy said, what did he say? Turn it round.
Side A, side B.
Side A, side B. I never knew that before.
And then you can do C and D.
What is C and D?
The side A becomes the side C.
Oh,
The third day.
double or triple turnaround. Okay, don't worry. I put some fresh underwear on this morning. But I want to try this side A, side B. I've never done it. Have you done it before? No. So this is new for us. I will try it out. I'll try it out some other day. Okay, so that is one option. I've never used that option. What other options could we have?
The side zero.
Side zero.
You don't wear
Yeah,
pants.
zero. No underwear at all.
When you're at home.
When you're at home. Yeah, in public, maybe you come from the toilet, you forgot to close your zip. It could be very embarrassing. So I have not been daring enough to do that. Anyone here?
Maybe use organic cotton.
Oh wow, there we go. Yes, that is what I do. Yeah. Did your mom tell you about that?
No, because I saw some of organic cotton, like sleeves of my mom. The one
Yeah.
she's wearing right now. I think
Yes,
it's
yes.
From one of your friends.
Yes, that's
So,
right. That's right.
My mom said that it's partially made of bamboo, I guess.
Of what?
Bamboo.
Bamboo. Yeah, I have some bamboo clothes. Like I have bamboo socks and bamboo underwear. But today I'm wearing organic cotton underwear. Can I have a volunteer to help verify that? Any one of you happy to be the volunteer to confirm? Preferably single lady. Any single ladies here?